Who want one last trip to the long trail?
A person on Twitter gave Harada a little bit of feedback about the current state of Tekken. You talk about the gameplay. This person says Tekken 8 is not good. Too much, in parentheses, cheap tactics. Skill is not required anymore to play the game. Harada responds to this, you would know if that's true, you have mastered all past Tekkens. What you are saying is not at all true. Then why do world level tournaments win by past competitive players? Why don't unknown players with a series of cheap plays win? Your values are based not by objective facts, but by simple separate emotions. We gotta be honest, Harada, this is simply not true. I did a video a couple of days ago and I was talking about how many content creators are kind of sick of the game. And in that video, about halfway through, I talked about a discussion that was held on the most recent Harada's bar at the time, where they were specifically talking about this issue. Cheap tactics. Another word for that could be powerful moves. They say, in a good way, Tekken 8 allows players to defeat higher ranked players with powerful moves. But for young players, those currently playing, it boosts their motivation. So I think it's a good system. They can overthrow higher ranked opponents. This is something that you guys said yourself in a video that's available to be watched right now on YouTube. But when a person says it to you on Twitter, you're upset. This is what I don't understand about Tekken. Like, the thing with Tekken, and this is what Tekken 7 taught me, the developers have found out a way to basically make the casual experience for Tekken, like the average player experience, very like yikes. Like, they have all these powerful, as they say, powerful moves, as the person on Twitter say, cheap tactics. They put all of these things into the game to promote young players and new players and give them a better experience. You buff those guys through all of these crazy tactics and you allow them to make these crazy comebacks, and you really just destroy the sense of competitive integrity in a casual sense. But here's why the developers are smart. They figured out a way to not allow that to impact the tournament level. Now, one could argue it is impacting the tournament level because we could see players like Nee cannot compete. We could see players like Anakin is struggling to even make top 8, when in the past, Tekken 7, Anakin was always there. It's just weird. Like, Harada's on Twitter trying to say, no, the game is not cheap, but then he goes on Harada Bar and he says it. And you know, I have another ace up my sleeve. So before Tekken 8 came out, back in like 2022, there was another Harada's Bar episode that was published. This one is between Harada and Markman. When this aired, it upset a lot of players because what was said in it. That Harada's Bar is now private, and I've been searching for the clip for a very long time because it's exactly what we're experimenting now. Thank you to Frame Whisper because he made a video about this, and through that video I was able to salvage a 5-second clip of it. But in that clip, Markman says Tekken is not just about competition, it's also about sales. And the clip cuts off, but what he continues to say, that balance is also about new players and bringing new players into the game.
You have to understand that balance is not just about the competitive side, it's about sales.
All of these different things that the developers say on Twitter, on Harada's Bar, it adds up to what the players are feeling and also are saying. But when the players say it to the developers, they say, oh, you're basing this stuff off emotion. You're being emotional. Why is that? I will give them credit. Heihachi is a huge improvement from Eddie. Eddie is the most despicable thing on the planet. When I played the story and I was pressing that 333 and I was just mashing 444 and Eddie was just doing all of this stuff, someone in the Twitch chat said it best. I lost respect for Eddie players in that moment. The fact that that guy was that simple and he requires that little effort is crazy. This screenshot was also posted to the Tekken subreddit and the conversation continues there. The top like comment on this says, I wish I had the screenshot of the interview where they proudly talked about making a game where lower skill players can easily take rounds / games off higher ranked players by using simple techniques. This is exactly what I'm showing you guys right now. The two just simply does not add up. This person here says both can be true. game has cheap new ways to play, and old top players are still top. And this is also what I was referring to. The developers found out a way to make a character busted in a casual sense, but then balanced in a competitive sense. And the reason why I think that is, the way that they accomplish that is because different moves are powerful in different situations. Where a string may be a mid-high or a mid-high-high, in tournaments that will be crouched and launch punish. But online, where there's more lag and people just simply don't have the skill, that string may be super oppressive. You add some tracking, you add a guard break, you add some plus frames, and boom, you have a crazy string that can do serious work. And the developers know that. They realize that. And that's why the competitive integrity can remain intact. But at the same time, online players are just sick to their stomachs by what they're going up against constantly.